Well, hello there, ladies and gents. I'm Tammy Sipnewski, and thank you so much for stopping by my channel. So today I'm going to answer the big question, the one I would say I most frequently get. And that one is, how do we edit these videos once we're done filming them? Do we get a really expensive program? How much do we have to learn? Is it going to take a really long time? And my answer is no to both of those questions. So the program that I use to edit my videos is actually an app. I use it right on my iPad, and you can also use it on your iPhone. It's called LumaFusion. This is a wonderful app. I think I paid like $20 for it last year. I know they recently updated it, so it might be just a little bit of extra money, but you guys, it's a one-time fee. A lot of those other editing programs, you have to incur a monthly or an annual fee to continue to use them. This is a one-time fee. You pay it and you own the app. You can use it, and let me tell you, this is crazy powerful and strong. Everything that you want to do to your video can be done in LumaFusion. You can cut out the parts that you don't want. You can add transitions. You can add titles. You can do slow motion, speed ramping, add a vignette. Anything that you want to do, you can do in this wonderful, amazing app. So today I'm going to walk you through the very basics of how to begin to import your footage and edit some video. I do want to make a recommendation though. So when you're inputting footage into your iPad or iPhone, you'll notice how quickly those gigabytes get gobbled up. So what I recommend to you to do is purchase some iCloud storage space. I think I have like 300 gigabytes and I pay just a couple bucks a month for it. It is well worth it because your whole iPad will be chock full in absolutely no time. So get some really good cloud storage space for yourself. So let me take you through the very basics of LumaFusion to help you guys to learn how to edit your videos, and then I'm going to show you how to upload them to YouTube. Okay, so let's jump right into LumaFusion, and like I said, I'm just going to take you through the very basics. My recommendation to you is to purchase the app for yourself, get some footage in there, and just begin to fool around with it. You know, look through all the different options that you have, learn and understand this app. You are going to be blown away by the potential of an app on your iPad. And I just want to forewarn you, my cat recently had surgery, so I brought her in with me, so she might be in and out of frame at any given moment. I apologize if you're not a cat person, but I am. All right, so let's get into it. Let's go ahead and launch LumaFusion. So when you initially open it up, if you've never used an editing app before, it might be intimidating and look confusing, but don't worry, we're going to walk you through it, and when you start using it, you will quickly get the hang of it. So the first thing that I want to do is start a new project, and down here is your toolbar. So you can do a lot of functions right down here on the toolbar. The first thing that you want to do is start a new project by hitting the project manager, and that is going to be in the lower right hand corner of the screen, the little plus button in a box. And that is going to bring up the project manager. It will show you any projects that you already have stored, but I want to start a new one. So we're going to hit a plus button that's on the left hand side of the screen. It's going to ask us to name our project, and I will just name this new. And then it's going to ask you what frame rate that you'd like it to be in. I always shoot all of my frame rate 24 frames per second. I do shoot my B-roll in 60 frames per second because I like to slow that down, but I'm still going to bring that into a 24 frames per second timeline. So I always choose 24, and we are going to leave that in the 16:9 aspect ratio because that's what we need to upload to YouTube in. So then we hit plus, and there we go. We have a new project. So now I want to bring some footage in. And how we do that is this button up here. It's going to input your footage wherever you have it archived. And of course, I recommend it to you to absolutely get some iCloud Drive space. So I'm going to hit iCloud Drive, and this is going to bring up a lot of the videos that I have stored on my iCloud Drive. So let me just drag a few over. Let me see. I'm just going to bring a few clips in because I want to show you what we can do. I want to bring some B clips in and some other footage. I'll bring this one in. Okay, and that should be enough just to show you the very basics of this really great app. It's amazing. Okay, so this window right here is called the source preview. So I want to check out what clip I want to put down in my timeline first. So I'm just going to tap the first clip, and that is going to open it up in the source preview window. And I just want to look at it and see if indeed that's the clip I want to work with.
Well, hello there, ladies.
Okay, that will do. So now I'm just going to tap on that and drag it down to this little maroon line. And this, hit this to go forward. This is going to be our timeline. This is going to be the main key of the whole project. This is what we want to work on. We can do layers on top of that, like we can add titles to that, we can add B-roll to that, but this is going to be the main focus of our project. So we can have a total of 6, I think, video and audio layers and another 6 of audio layers, or we can do a totality of 12 audio layers if we want. Okay, so now back to the timeline. You can see that there is a waveform embedded into the clip. So this is going to be me speaking. In the beginning, I can see that there's hardly anything here, so I know that that needs to be trimmed out. So we come down to the toolbar, and we want to make sure that's highlighted. And now we want to get rid of the beginning portion of that. So now we're going to hit the scissors icon, and that's going to clip it and separate it. So then we're going to tap what we want to throw away and hit the garbage can. And that's how easy it is to just clip and delete. But let's say that, whoops, I didn't mean to throw that away. It was a total mistake. Don't worry, you can always change anything you've done by hitting this back arrow. So if you've ever made a mistake, you wish you didn't do something, something went wrong, you can always back arrow your way out of trouble. But I did mean to do that, so let's go ahead and get rid of that. So now what I want to do is change the properties of this particular clip. I want to add a LUT to it. I want to tweak the contrast and maybe the coloring a little bit. So I want to get to the properties window of this clip. So I highlight it, and now I'm going to double tap on it. And that is going to bring us to the properties window. So I want to add a LUT on this. So now I'm going to hit this icon. And that is the color and effects icon. It's going to open up the color and the effects windows. So all of these little icons up here are options for you. This is going to be the color presets. Here is where the LUTs are going to be stored. So these are my personalized LUTs up here. But LumaFusion does offer a lot of LUT packages for you to choose from as well, just to get you started. You know, if you don't have any LUTs, when you get into this, you will begin to get LUTs, believe you me. And there's other options for you to choose. There's a vignette that you can add in there. There's all kinds of little different nifty things. You can make yourself look like a comic book if you want. You can add a Gaussian blur if you want to blur something out. All kinds of crazy effects. And this little key right here, that is going to be the particular icon that you're going to hit if you're importing footage that has green screen. So I'm not going to go over green screen today, so we're just going to go ahead and go back to the color presets because I want to, well, first let me drop my LUT in. So let me go ahead and I'm going to choose my LUT. Now down here we can blend in the LUT. So over here is 100%, down here is 0. This is how I imported the footage. I don't want to make it too strong, it'll be too much and ridiculous looking. So I usually do like 40% of a LUT and that looks good. So now I want to add a little bit of contrast. So now I go back to the color preset window and I hit contrast, and this is going to open up a lot of different options again for you to tweak your footage. And let me see the contrast. I can dial it all the way down or lighten it up. I think that looks good. Now let's say, let's say I was using lights that throw a lot of magenta on me. To reverse magenta, what I can do is add a little green into the coloring of the clip. Obviously my lights did not, but I'm just showing you the potential of what you could do if your light was a little too magenta. So I'm very happy with the way that looks. Now I want to return to the timeline, and how I do that is to hit this back arrow that's going to bring us back to our timeline. So there we go. We can see that the LUT package has now been laid on top of the clip, and the contrast has as well. Now you can always just kind of scroll through your footage by just pressing and tapping, holding down, and going like this. And that's called scrubbing. See how quick that scrubs? You're never going to be able to scrub like this in an editing program in a laptop. Trust me, this is crazy powerful. Okay, I know I messed up somewhere. Okay, here we go. I see a lot of dead space here, a lot of place where I'm not talking, missed audio. So when you're filming your videos and you mess up on something, try to stay silent for a couple seconds. This way, when you go to edit it, you can quickly find the areas that need editing because it's going to be indicated by that blank space in your audio. So let's go ahead and cut out that blank space. So again, I want to make sure it's highlighted. I hit the scissors icon to clip it, and we'll clip it again. Now we're going to go ahead and get rid of that. But see how that is not blending? So what I want to do now is add a transition. And how we're going to do that is we hit the file folder up here, and this is going to bring up some additional options for you. So we're going to hit transitions, and there's a lot of different transitions for you to choose from. I like the cross dissolve transition, so we'll go ahead and watch that. So that looked really good. If I wanted to shorten that transition, all I would have to do is press on that and just drag it. I could make it longer or I can make it shorter. So now what we'll do is go ahead and drop some B-roll in here. So I'm going to grab this portion of B-roll and just drop it as a new layer right on top of our timeline. So I want to add a LUT to that, and I want to clean up the contrast, and I also want to put this into slow motion, which is what I always do with my B-roll. So I want to get back to the properties window. So we're going to double tap on that. Okay, so let's go ahead and add the LUT first. We'll press that to get to the LUTs, and I can choose any one. There's a lot of different ones to choose from. That looks good. Let me blend so it's not too strong. Okay, that looks good. Now add a little bit of contrast to this. Perfect. Now for the B-roll, I like to slow it down. So what I'm going to do is hit this icon that looks like a speedometer. And here you can see it's going to tell you that I filmed it in 60 frames per second. So here is the option that we're going to use to slow it down. We're going to drag it down until we see it's at half. Do you see that half over there? We also can ramp it up. We can go 6 times faster, all the way up to 6, but I want to slow it down to half. All right, so what I want to do is go back to the screen, the main timeline, because I know I have to clip a lot of that out. So we're going to go back to the timeline. Okay, so let's check out how the B-roll looks. Two different pop filters. One is going to be your traditional dead kitten, and this is... I don't know if you guys can hear that or not, but when I filmed this portion of B-roll, you can actually hear my lens focusing. It's making just a crackly noise. So I'll go ahead and play it again and see if you can hear it. One is going to be your I don't know if that's translating well. Really good to cut down on wind noise. So what I want to do to get rid of the noise, I want to remove the audio from this particular clip. So what I want to do is highlight the clip that I want to get rid of the audio out of, and now we're going to tap on it 3 times. So 1, 2, 3. That is going to remove the audio from that particular clip and drop it down. Now remember I said you can have 6 separate layers of audio. So I am going to move this layer down, just another layer. I want to leave this one blank because I am going to input music and I want that directly below my main timeline. So we'll go ahead, and now what I want to do, now I've dropped the audio down here, I have to make sure that the audio is not picked up here. On the left-hand side of your screen, you can see microphones, and this is going to be able to control the volume and the audio of all of your timeline and your clips. So I want to mute the audio on this particular layer, and we hit the microphone and that is going to mute that audio. So we'll listen to it again. It comes with 2 different pop filters. One is going to be I can even mute my layer. So you see right there, that muted the volume of the timeline. We'll go ahead and unmute it. So now I want to get rid of a lot of this footage because it's way too long. So I'll go ahead and I'll scissor clip that and just get rid of that. Okay, so now what I'd like to do is add a title so that I could write in what this particular B-roll is of, and it's of a microphone. So okay, so what I'd like to do is add a title. So we're going to go back to the folder and look for titles, and titles is right there, and there's a lot of pre-made ones to choose from. There's a lot of pretty ones and masculine ones and cute ones. So no, I don't like that one, garbage can. Let me just go ahead and pick the plain white one for now and just drag that down and drop it right on top of the clip. Now we're going to double tap that. So we're going to now edit the title. So now we're going to double tap on the font, and now we're going to type in the name of the microphone. So in this window, the properties window of the title, we can do everything. We can change the font if we want. Pick Helvetica. We can move the font anywhere that we want it to be. We can change the size of the font. We can change the opacity of the font. We can even change the color of the font if we want. We have a whole wheel here to choose from, and that looks good. So let's start that. Pop filters. One is going to be your traditional dead kitten, and this is a soul. That's pretty cool. But what if I wanted to keyframe this title? So instead of the title just popping right up, I'd like to have it fade in and fade out. So let's add a keyframe to the title. So we're going to go back to the properties window of the title, and now we're going to hit the keyframe icon. Okay, so what I'm going to do is go push it all the way back to the beginning. So what I want to do is start with some blending here. So now that we're at the beginning, I'm going to see how the opacity is at 100%? I want to dial that down to 0. And I'm going to add the keyframe. I'm going to hit play. I'm going to pause it right about there. I'm going to hit another keyframe, and now I'm going to put the opacity all the way up to 100%. I'm going to hit play again and let this go. I'm going to stop it there, add another keyframe, hit it again, stop it there, add another keyframe, and now I'm going to bring this back to 0. So now let's play it again and see what it looks like.
A traditional dead kitten, and this is sold a lot with different vlog.
See how that faded in and out? I really like that. Alrighty, so let's go to the end of this particular clip. I'm going to trim some of this out here. And I'm going to add in, imported, another clip. So let's take this clip and drag it down to here. To get to the beginning of the clip, you can always use these arrows to navigate your way around your timeline. Even if you're all the way at the end of the timeline, if you double tap on the back key, it will bring you all the way to the front. And if you're at the front and double tap on this one, it will bring you all the way to the back. So as you can see, now that I've dropped in a new clip, you can see this one has the LUT and the contrast, and this one doesn't. So I want to make sure that these things match perfectly. I don't have to go back into that properties window and try to match the contrast and the LUT just so. What I can do is go back to this particular clip that's already has the LUT laid on top of it and has the contrast that I like. And now we're going to come down to the toolbar and hit the clipboard. I'm going to hit copy. I'm going to hit the clipboard again, and it's going to give you options. Do you want to copy the LUT and everything? So we're going to hit copy again. Now we're going to go over to the clip that has nothing, highlight that, go over to the clipboard again. Now we're going to hit paste. And so it's going to match these two clips absolutely perfectly. Okay, so now I want to get rid of this dead air as well. I'm going to clip that out, highlight it, and throw that in the garbage can. I want to add another transition. Let's choose the zoom blur. So we clip on that and just drag it right down, and let's see how that looks.
And pop the boya on. So now the audio that you're hearing.
All right, that was pretty cool. So what if I'm not happy with the audio of my clip? You can tweak your audio in LumaFusion. That's amazing. So let's go ahead and go inside the properties of this clip. Now we're going to tweak the audio by hitting this little icon that looks like a microphone. So this is going to be the waveform of your audio for this particular clip.
Cardioid condenser.
So if I wanted to add a little bit of gain and tweak a little something, what I would do is go over here. Now this has a lot of different options in it, but I always go to the dynamic processor because this is where the gain is going to be. And it does a lot to kind of fool around with the gain, so let's go ahead and play it.
Microphone without a windscreen, so there's nothing obstructing the actual capsule of the microphone.
See how that absolutely just added a little something extra to the volume? Not really the volume, but the gain and the strength of the signal. So we'll go ahead and keep that. So we're going to back arrow out of that and play it.
Without a windscreen, so there's nothing.
Perfect. Okay, so let's say that we're in here and we want to do an action, but we don't know where to go, and we're kind of lost. You can always go to this little cogwheel with a question mark inside of it, tap it and hold it down, and that is going to overlay what all of the icons are and the names of them and what they can do for you. If you want to get to a help center, you just click it once, and this is going to bring that up. All your different settings, but it's just easier to tap and hold it down and look around to see exactly what you're looking for and how it can help you. So let's go ahead and go back to, I'll click out of that. We'll go to the very beginning by double tapping. Now I want to add some music to my timeline. So we'll click the folder again and go to Story Blocks. Now Story Blocks is where all of the music library is going to be. They have sound effects. They also have some pre-made video clips. If you wanted to insert those, you absolutely can. So Story Blocks is an additional price. So I think I paid $70 for a whole year, but with that you get a ton of music, you get a ton of sound effects, you get a ton of video clips, so it is well worth the money. So let's go ahead and hit music. And they also do have a lot of different music for free for you to choose from. Now down here you can see that they have a lot of different genres of music for you to pick through. So let me go ahead and pick hip hop and techno. So when I pick those two different genres, it's now going to populate a list of the songs that would fall under the criteria of techno and hip hop. So let's go ahead and listen to some of these songs. Let's try a free one here. Let's see what the free one sounds like. We just want to tap it once, and that is going to bring it over into the source preview, and we can play it from there. Pause it. That was pretty good, right? That's a really good free song. I really like that, so I want to add that music to my video. So what I'm going to do is tap on that, hold it, and now I'm going to drag that down right underneath my timeline and drop it. Now with music, it may take a minute or so for that music to get into your timeline and download, but that, boom, there it is already. So let's go ahead and listen to it.
Well, hello there, ladies and gents. I'm Tammy Sipniewski, and thanks so much for stopping.
Okay, so what I want to do is reduce the sound of the music because I want it to be significantly lower than my voice. So now we're going to come back to the microphones here, and now we can just pull down the volume of the music track. And actually I'm going to pull down my voice too because that seems a little loud. So let's go ahead and hear how this sounds now.
Well, hello there, ladies.
Okay, that sounds good.
Well, hello there, ladies and gents. I'm Tammy Sipniewski, and thanks so...
Okay, I know it sounds really loud, but that's because I've really maxed out the sound of the iPad so that you guys can get, listen to everything that I'm telling you about. Okay, let's go back to our clips and let's drag in another clip. So let's get to the end. We're going to drag in this final clip and add it to the timeline. And every time that you hit this arrow, it's going to bring you to wherever the last area of action was. And I just want to show you up here as well. So this is new in the upgrade, and this basically is going to be the key of your timeline. You can see your whole entire timeline in this particular key down here, and you can see the blue represents video clips and that the green represents music and any kind of audio. So that's just a really easy way for you to see where everything is, just a very quick reference guide. So let's go ahead and trim out this blank space here. Okay, so now what we want to do is add a transition between these clips. So we go back to the file folder, hit transitions again, and now we'll do a burst transition. Let's see how that looks.
Just a quick little studio tour. Okay, so now we're
That's great. So now I want to go back to the very beginning of the entire clip, because now I'm pretty much done with, well, let's clip this out while we're here. But now let's say that I wanted to go ahead and make sure that the music lasts as long as the entire video. I don't want to just have music in the first minute of my video. I want it to last the entire length of my video. So I'm going to highlight the music, and down in the toolbar you can see that there's a plus sign. So go ahead and hit the plus sign, and that is going to duplicate that song and add it to your timeline. So just keep hitting plus until it populates your entire timeline. It's not going to be a smooth transition. You can see that it's just a little longer than your actual video clip. So let's get to the end and trim out the music. So double tap this and it'll bring us to the very end. So we want the music to end right where the video ends. So we're going to clip that and just throw that away.
wear your sunblock.
So now, of course, we could end a title, put a title here. If you wanted to just say, you know, when your video is done, you can write a little, please subscribe. I'm just doing this to show you guys what it can look like, what you can do. Okay, that looks good. So let's go back to the beginning. You'll notice that there are little white bars that are connecting from your video to the music. That means that these things are basically clipped together. So if you delete out a portion of video, it will also delete out that portion of the music as well, because they're clipped together. Now, if we wanted to undo that, we could highlight the music and clip unpin. So even if now, if we deleted out this particular clip, it's not going to trim out the music. It's only going to trim out the video section. Okay, so let's say I've decided to add a vignette to my video. So what I want to do is double tap on one of my clips and go to the color and effects. Now I'm going to go to where I see the vignette. So here we go. I'm going to choose vignette. Now here I can control the intensity of the vignette and the radius of the vignette. So if I just want like a little hint just to make it dramatic, there we go. That looks really good. I'm going to back out of that. Oh, now I have to go ahead and copy this. And now we just want to paste it so everything is nice and consistent. So now it's all going to have consistency. It's all going to have the same contrast, the same LUT, and the same vignette. So don't forget, you guys, you can add titles anywhere to the video that you want. Oh. We'll just drop that there. I mean, you can have a lot of different layers of things going on at any one time. And look, just watch how quickly you can scrub through that. There's just no way you would be able to do that on a laptop. There's hesitation, and then there's lag, nothing is going to be as smooth as this really is. I mean, when I started using this, I was absolutely blown away by just how smooth and seamless it was. Okay, so now let's say we're done. We've completed the entire video. We've taken out the things that we want to take out. We've added the LUTs. We've added vignettes. We've added titles and everything that we want to do. Now what do? How do we get this to go onto YouTube? So what we're going to do is hit the share button, and we're going to choose movie. And it's going to ask you what platform that you want to upload it to. So let's go ahead and choose YouTube. Now it's going to ask you to confirm all of your settings. And yes, that looks good to me. That's everything that I like. And it's going to show you your channel down here. So let's say you have a few different channels or you've never done it before. It's going to have you sign into YouTube through Google. So it's going to ask you if it can have your permission to do so. Allow it permission. This way, it's a really easy and seamless way to upload your videos to YouTube. So hit the upload button again, the share button. Now it's going to ask you to title your video, to add a description to your video, and also add your tags. So you can do all of that right here in LumaFusion. And when you're done filling all of these different things out, when you hit that final share button, that is the final action that you need to take to begin to upload your video to YouTube. So while it's doing that, just leave the app open. Don't hit out of it or go to another app, because that is going to cancel out that upload. So you have to leave it open until it's done uploading. And depending on how long your video is, it can take anywhere from like 5 to 20 minutes. One of mine was rather lengthy, so it did take about 20 minutes to load everything up to YouTube. So just be patient. I did want to show you guys one other thing. So once your video is uploaded to YouTube, now you'd like to make a custom thumbnail to go along with your video, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So let me scrub through here and find a picture of myself that I like. Well, it all looks terrible, but I'm just going to pick anyone now because I want to make a point of showing you guys how to do this. Okay, so now we're going to tap on the share button again, and in here now we have an option called snapshot. So we hit snapshot, and that is going to take a picture of what is in your source preview window and send it to your camera roll. So let's go ahead to my camera roll, and there's the picture. So let's choose that. Now I'm going to send that to my iCloud. Now I want to go to my iCloud. There it is. And now I'm going to hit the share button from here and just say open in LumaFusion. So that's another way that you can get footage from your iCloud into LumaFusion just by going into the iCloud itself, then hitting the share button and then choosing LumaFusion. Okay, so let's hit the project manager down here because I do already have my own project that I've created where I keep all of my thumbnails. So let's go ahead and double tap that. And that is going to bring up all of the thumbnails that I've made with the title overlays. So let me go ahead and drag that picture down here. We're going to add it. Go to titles, and we can add any of these pre-made ones. Let's just do this one. Double click that, and of course you can tap on all of these things and just put whatever text you want in, change it to whatever font that you want. You can change the size. Of course you can move it anywhere you want to move it. Once you're happy with that, of course, you would absolutely take your time with creating your own thumbnail. You'd want it to look as pretty and make it as relevant as possible. So once you like what your thumbnail looks like, and you can have, like I said, you can have several layers of titles. You don't just have to do one. And let's go back into this particular title. I wanted to show you something from here. Double tap on this. Now let's say that I'm in this particular window and I wanted to add another title. You can do that right from this window too. You don't have to go back out to your timeline to do that. You would just hit the plus button. It's going to ask you what you wanted to add. You could just hit text and it will populate a brand new text box for you to choose from and move around and create and change color. So let's go ahead and do that. So once I like that, all right, that looks good. So now what we're going to do is hit the share button again and take a snapshot of that. And that is your thumbnail. And that is going to save itself to your photo roll. So when you're done uploading your movie, you can go to your YouTube Creator Studio and go to Edit Thumbnail, and it will ask you, do you want to, you have your own thumbnail that you made, and you hit yes, and then you can take that directly from your photo roll and put in your thumbnail. So that was it, guys. That was the very basics on how you can edit your videos to get them up to YouTube and to create your own thumbnail. You learned how to do slow motion, and you can also, instead of slowing it down, you could ramp up that speed. You learned a lot here, but my best advice to you is get the app, fool around with it, play around with it, input footage that you don't really care about. You can chop it up and make mistakes with. That's the best way that you're going to learn how to do LumaFusion, just by delving into it and hitting all the buttons and going through all the different attributes and all the different options of all the things that there is. And another good piece of advice that I'm going to give to you is go to Storyblocks. I think you should purchase Storyblocks, but let's say that you don't have the $60 that it takes for a year. I think they can do monthly payments as well, but let's say you just don't want a monthly payment. Just go through Storyblocks and listen to the music that you like. That's for free. And if you purchase Storyblocks, then you really have to listen to the music, because there are so many songs, and just write down the songs that you really liked. This way you won't forget them. And when you do your videos, you can say, you know what, I really like that song. I wish I could have it for this video. What was it again? I don't remember. This way, if you write everything down, you can always remember the songs that you really liked, and it will only take 2 seconds to find it. All right, guys, well, that's going to do it here for us today. I hope you learned a lot, and it is absolutely my recommendation for you guys to use LumaFusion. You don't want to use one of those other editing softwares that you have to pay every month for or every year for, and they're very complicated and complex. Listen, if you're doing some crazy special effects videos, or you're doing Hollywood style type of things, then that might be something that you're interested to do. But if you're just doing basic videos for YouTube, simple instructional videos, LumaFusion is going to be your very best option. Well, guys, I thank you so much for joining me. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I'll get to them just as soon as I can. But also, LumaFusion has their own YouTube channel. So if you wanted to check out their videos and their tutorials, I would absolutely recommend that you do that. Alrighty, guys, I thank you so much for joining me and letting me help you learn LumaFusion. I appreciate it. So until next time, wear your sunblock.